The field heads out to the northeast in the heart of Loudon, where some look to create magic of their own with a possible playoff bid and a checkered flag. Live from the virtual Loudon, New Hampshire Motor Speedway, we welcome you to coverage of race number 11 in Season 5 of the 4-Wide Racing Cup Series right here on MaxSpeedTV. Again, happy that you're with us as we shift to Loudon, New Hampshire this time at the Magic Mile. We're up atop the broadcast booth. My name is Kenneth Bueno, and it has been just a couple of weeks, or at least a week or so, since we had our last race of the season at the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway, and the old version of that, Austin Reedy with the win. We'll cover that in just a little bit, but for tonight, it's our first trip to a short track in a while. Last time we had one was race number 7 at Richmond, and although this track is a little bit bigger, there are still some things that are worth noting when it comes down to this venue here in New Hampshire up in the Northeast. It's one of the most northern tracks on the NASCAR calendar, and it's the third time over the last 3 seasons that it's been featured, or the last 4 seasons rather, and it has been featured on the 4-Wide Cup schedule. It's located in Loudon, New Hampshire, of course, like we said, 1.058 miles, 1.7 kilometers, opened back in 1990, and you'll find a very interesting set of banking in the corners 2 to 7. It is transitional. We'll talk about that as well, where it flattens out the bottom, and then it kind of progresses up to the outside wall, and then the 1 degree you'll find on the straightaways. It is a very unique 1-mile track, sort of similar in shape to Homestead Miami Speedway, just way smaller and with its own set of things to deal with behind the wheel of the race car. Last time we were here was last season, where Joe Sanchez ended up in victory lane, and this time Joe Sanchez comes in with a win already on his belt from the other short track that we had a couple of weeks back at Richmond. So there is something worth noting in terms of that. We'll talk about last week Atlanta Motor Speedway, what a race that was, all the way to the very end, where Austin Reedy in the 96 broke the streak of Drinking Bros Racing drivers to visit victory lane, got a win of his own, got the Dash for Cash prize as well. So good news for Austin Reedy. He is locked into the playoffs and becomes another different winner. In fact, the 7th different winner of the series. It means that playoff spots are now a little harder to come by, so we'll just see how desperate drivers can get, especially when it comes down to the race here this evening. Well, drivers are lined up behind the iRacing official pace car. We'll take you trackside for the starting grid here from New Hampshire and virtual Loudon. On pole will be the number 12 of Lawson Peel, looking for what would be his 4th win on the calendar year. He'll have Lance Hill to his outside, still looking for win number 1 of season number 5. He starts on the outside of the first row. AJ Green in the 48 for Stonks Motorsports will put up a time good enough for 3rd. Daniel Michel in the 25 will be alongside him in P4. 2 drivers to double up in row number 3. There'll be Joe Sanchez, the defending winner of this race, inside the top 5, and Kyle Benson alongside, who's had some pretty good finishes here at this track. Colin Forrester is in P7 to start here from New Hampshire. Austin Reedy, last week's winner, will be to his outside in P8. Row number 5, final drivers inside your top 10. Scott Healy in the 64. He had a wild ride at Atlanta just 1 week ago. And Craig Lautenslager. We've seen him be pretty good at these short tracks. We'll see what he can do from that 10th starting spot. Eric Schaefer will be 11th. Brandon Banks will be in P12. Adam Alashire and Christopher Bishop, the 91 and the 42, going to be the 2 drivers to double up in row number 7. Curtis Kelly and Tyler Murray will put up times good enough for 15th and 16th on the racetrack. Jesse Prees makes his first start in a little while. He joins from 17th. Tyler Warner will be in P18 at the drop of the green flag. Cody Kinsey 19th, Brandon Gillis the last driver inside the top 20, and then go the final 2 drivers in this grid, both of them not taking time in queue. It starts with Jaden Porter in the 28, James Carroll in the 44. So not as big of a field here in New Hampshire, but not necessarily a worse one by any stretch of the imagination. Very good competition, and of course, we do have a lot of things at stake. We talk about playoff spots, drivers that have wins in the playoffs still looking for more, and then you have guys like Lance Hill and many others through this field that are still looking for that berth and just trying to officially lock themselves in. We go a total of 150 laps here from New Hampshire, 150 miles, and just over 320, or rather not 320 kilometers. We'll fix that for you, but we do go 150 laps. Last time we were here, we extended this race by 4 laps. We had 23 cautions over the 154 that we had that night. We'll see if it ends up a lot cleaner. It is the 12 of Lawson Peel at the very front. It'll be Lance Hill alongside him in that first row, and you see the wide shot, them coming out of turn 4. Pace car will make its way to the entrance of the pit lane. The 2 Camaros will lead us to green, and the 12 of Lawson Peel will have discretion. We're underway in race number 11 of season 5. And 1 car around at the exit of turn 4. Caution out before we complete lap number 1. That is Adam Alshire. And the 91 goes sideways. I think picks up a little bit of the inside wall. And just like that, caution out already on the first lap of the race here from New Hampshire. We'll take a look and see exactly what happened. This is around Craig Lautenslager, but I think made contact with the 3 of Eric Schaefer. So you see Schaefer slide up the racetrack. The 91 goes down low. They make a bit of contact. Check each other, and the 91 just goes for a harmless side spin and does not actually hit the inside wall. So good news for Alshire. Just a bit of shot tires on the end, a bit of flat spots there on his Camaro and his Goodyear Eagles, but nonetheless the 91 going to drop to dead last, 22nd. And just like that, under our first caution here on lap number 2. We'll cross the line to complete lap number 3, and just like where we left off at New Hampshire, it looks like it's where exactly we're picking up. Cautions were definitely a huge part of the last time we were here. 23 cautions, like I said, and looks like we're going to be quick to the green flag this time on lap number 4, so lights are out on the iRacing official pace car, but nonetheless, harmless spin, everyone's okay, no damage to the 91, and we'll try and restart this race with Lawson Peel still out front. He's going to choose the outside lane, Lance Hill on the very bottom. So no huge shakeups through the entire field, at least for the most part. Didn't really have a full lap to get things settled, but you will see multiple different lines at work. We saw the apron work in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series with this car. Not sure if that's still viable, but you can still use the bottom. You can still use that very middle. In some cases, you can use partially that third groove to get some runs out of the corners. It is a very unique track in its own right with the banking that we have. Again, 2 to 7. We'll discuss that more as we roll through this race. Ready for the restart, lap number 4. Just as quickly as we got the yellow. Pace car's down, green flag is out. Lawson Peel leads him back to turn 1. Whole field fanning out. The exit of turn 2 looks like we'll stay green. And a big pack up in a battle for third. That's Joe Sanchez trying to stuff his way to the outside of AJ Green to make his way into the podium. Kyle Benson sideways in the middle of the field. It looks like he'll be able to save it. The field thins out severely back to turn 1. Now the caution's out. Trouble with Cody Kinsey on the front straightaway. Left front damage to Kinsey's number 93. So look at what happened. And this is with, I believe, the 28 of Jaden Porter as Kyle Benson got loose at the exit of 4. So packed up everybody here. And you can see a bit of smoke out of the 96. And right there, huge hit by Cody Kinsey into the inside wall. Just lost his race car. And there was nothing he could do. We'll see if we can get a better look at it this time on the onboard shot with Kinsey. See right here, just tries to modulate the throttle on the outside of Porter. Just got a little too overzealous. I think made some contact with Porter as well. And then just goes hard into the inside wall. That's the reasoning for some of that left front damage. I'm not sure if that's any toe link damage. I think the 93 should be okay, but I think he has officially put it behind the wall. So we will have 1 car less in this 22-car field. Cody Kinsey going to pack it up 1 lap down as the damage looks like might just be too big to overcome. So caution out for the second time over the first 6 laps of this race. And And the 12 of Lawson Peel will lead him back to the stripe. We'll see if we get the 1 to green signal. I think we will not, actually. Lights are still on, so we'll go an extra lap before we double them up and get it back started here from New Hampshire. So let's talk about a little bit of the banking and how difficult that is to drive with this next-gen car. Of course, over the time that this next-gen car has been in real life, in NASCAR competition, and in this sim on iRacing, you do have that sensation of lost grip. And as soon as you lose that grip, as soon as you get your car sideways, it is a little easier than it has been to save the car before. But now, even then still, it is remarkably hard to save this next-gen car. And once it goes sideways, you're more than likely going to just let go of the wheel and hold on to the brakes. Just let yourself slide through whatever situation you're going through and just hold on and hope for the best. And that's been the problem with this car in comparison to what we saw in Gen 6, where the side force and the way that car was built, it enabled you to save the car a lot easier and hang out the car a lot more at the exit of the corner. Here, where it can get very treacherous, and with the pavement and the transition of banking, it could be easy to get this car sideways. It is much more difficult, way harder to get the car righted, way harder to save the car, and that's why you're seeing some of the issues that some of the drivers are facing. Cold tires, you're not necessarily warmed them up completely, and of course, when you're trying to put in as much throttle as you are at the exit of the corner, it can get very tough. You could also overcorrect, slam into the outside wall, and your day might just be over. Get a bit of toe link damage. And with the fact that we have this 2 to 7 degrees of banking, you have multiple different transitions in seams. So you can go from the inside line, try to go back up at the exit of the corner, and as you reach that banking transition, the car's going to unsettle itself. It's going to lose some of that grip on the rear end, and then you have your hands full all of a sudden, and it most likely could cause a crash if it gets a little too dangerous. So restart ready. Lap number 9, this time Lawson Peel experimenting with the inside, much like he did at the start of today's race. And he chose the outside, didn't necessarily do the greatest effects, just kind of did the same thing that it did when he went the inside. So he'll try the bottom this time around. His teammate Joe Sanchez behind him. Green flag back in the air. Peel leads him back to turn 1, and Hill already having to fight for second. Sanchez on the inside. And Sanchez has been able to surge his way through the top 3. You saw the battle that he was in with AJ Green prior to the second caution. Green, though, still has his hands full, this time with the 25, the Cat Marrow of Daniel Michel, Austin Reedy, Eric Schaefer, part of those cars that are behind, but still the side-by-side battle on for second and for fourth. Looks like that settles out behind them before the drivers in second and third. Sanchez and Hill still duking it out back to turn 1. Right on board with Sanchez, one of the most successful drivers at this New Hampshire Motor Speedway, especially when you look at the race he had last season. He was able to lead 42 laps on his way to his checkered flag, and really the only one that he was able to gather through the regular season. Now you see him hounding on his teammate, Lawson Peel, as Joe Sanchez moves through to second. Big hit by Lance Hill. He goes hard and careens off of the outside wall. Multiple cars involved. Tyler Murray. It looks like also Daniel Michel got a piece of that, and the one car in trouble severely. Lap number 11. You talk about overcorrection. The situation that happens to the one car, as Eric Schaefer goes for a slide in the background, but he saves it. And right there, the one loses it. Gets into the 25. Michel nowhere he could go. There's Jesse Priest having to stuff his way through. Brandon Gillis getting a piece of the contact, and obviously Lance Hill immediately towing it to the pit lane. A very hard impact for the one. Watch this here as he gets slid up the track. So easy to overcorrect in these cars. And right there seals the fate as the 25 slams into him, and looks like the 96 of Austin Reedy just got a piece of that on the front end. We'll see if there's any significant damage to Reedy's machine. He's still in fourth. He's going to hold on to his position. Here's a look on board with the 96. He snags a bit of the inside wall as well. And Reedy picks up the damage. He's going to stay out on track. And with that, I believe we may have our second DNF of the evening. Lance Hill, Daniel Michel brought their cars to pit road. Looks like James Carroll also did the same. There's his 44. Chevy Camaro coming out of the pit lane and emerge back at the exit of turn 2. Tyler Murray also got involved, spun around at the exit of the corner. Looks like he didn't pick up as much damage, so he's back out on the track, but he also came down pit road like the drivers behind, and looks like Lance Hill, with the fact that he towed to the lane, going to take him some more time and obviously going to put him multiple laps down, and we could expect the same for Daniel Michel. Remember, these drivers do have one faster pair in the 4-wide Racing Cup Series. It looks like Michel not going to officially equip it, but he is going to repair his car enough to get back onto the racetrack and to avoid being put a lap down as he rides in P20 right now. But drivers do have the opportunity. It is 2.5 seconds on pit lane if they don't get tires or fuel to officially fix their race car and get a clean one like when they started the race if they get a lot of damage. Now, the problem with towing on the racetrack is that you're wasting time towing the car back to pit road, which, depending on how far you are away from the pit lane, it could be from maybe a couple of seconds to roughly upwards of a couple of minutes, and it could severely track your race on the wrong foot. And then you have the situation of getting the faster pair right after, and if you don't have that clicked, you could be in some dear trouble. And it looks like right now for Hill, he's going to stay 2 laps down, going to grow to 3 laps down as the leaders come out of turn 4. We'll take the restart at the start of lap number 14. And it'll be the 12 of Lawson Peel, joined by his teammate, Joe Sanchez. He's been making some good progress since lap number 1. Green flag back in the air from New Hampshire. And already, solid restart for Joe Sanchez. He'll look to the inside of the 12 at the exit of turn 2. 1 car around. Near the back end, that's Brandon Gillis. Caution out again. Eric Schaefer and Tyler Murray involved. This was near the back of the field, and I think it started with the 9 of Gillis. He was ahead of both the 3 and the 16 at the time of caution. It might have just been another situation of getting loose right there. Catches that transition. There's sort of a flat part of the racetrack at the bottom, and then obviously a bank section at the top. That's why we talk about 2 to 7 degrees of banking. It's very variable in its nature. Just look on board with Gillis. Right there in 4th gear, car goes around, and he holds on to the brakes, but the 3 of Eric Schaefer, the 16 of Tyler Murray, both get involved. It looks like Gillis has towed it behind the wall. It looks like we've had a couple of more drivers to join. Looks like Scott Healy has picked up no damage at all, but he has decided to book it out of this race. So that makes it 3 cars DNF'd in the first 16 laps of this race, as Lance Hill now back onto the racetrack. He's 2 laps down. It looks like he has ticked off the faster pair, so Hill going to be the first driver in the entire field to use their faster pair here at New Hampshire, and Loudon, to be exact, looks like the one going to try and get some of the laps back. Maybe the cautions will help, as these other drivers he'll get by, but obviously going to be a tough route for the one to try and gain all of that track position as he gets the wave around this time by. So just like last season, we are under yellow once again in frequent occurrences, as it'll be a tussle between the 55 and the 12. Joe Sanchez looking to get some clean air out front. Lawson Peel looking to defend, and both of these drivers already with race wins. And obviously for the 55 of Sanchez, a very different scenario. He wasn't locked into the playoffs by the time he had won this race 1 season ago. He was still a regular season points paying driver. Lawson Peel by this time already had a couple of wins to his tally, so he was okay. But for both of these drivers to be locked in, you question how much different these drivers are going to approach this race, how different the approach is going to be, and what they're going to try to do. And obviously it looks like right now both of them have been very strong. Both of them really have been acting like they haven't won a single race in this season. They've been gunning out as much as they can for race victories, and the 12 and the 55 are going to be the 2 to lead us to green. AJ Green and Austin Reedy. It looks like both of them going to occupy row number 2, and just like that, we will have 19 cars on the racetrack. Lance Hill getting that wave around. He'll be the lucky dog when we get our next yellow flag. And so that leaves us with 3 drivers out of this race. So 1 green signal this time by. Looks like the 12 will choose the outside lane. Row number 1 on the restart. Joe Sanchez going to occupy the bottom. Going It'll be the 48 and the 96, Austin Reedy and AJ Green. It'll be third and fourth on the racetrack in row number 2. Colin Forrester inside your top 5. It'll be Craig Lautenslugger joining him in row number 3. There's a bit of contact between the 48 and the 96, bit of play there under yellow. And the final couple of drivers inside your top 10. Kyle Benson, Curtis Kelly, Jaden Porter, and Brandon Banks. A big move up through the field for Jaden Porter in the 28. He started pretty much in the last row of this field, row number 11, I think back in P21. And so some good progress by the Ally Chevrolet. And Porter able to make some quick work. We'll see what he can do on the next restart. So pace car will make its way to the entrance of the pit lane, the 55 and the 12, ready to bring us back under action from Loudon, New Hampshire. The 12 will get into the Geico restart zone. We'll hop on the gas, move up to the gears. Better restart this time by, and we're back under green. It was a little bit of a struggle there for Peel. That last time we had a restart, Sanchez had been able to weave his way to the bottom, make it a challenge for P1. This time, more convincing. The 12 going to be able to hold on. Now here comes the 55. A look to the inside in turn 3. Sanchez looking down low, going to have to slide up in the middle of the racetrack to get some arc at the exit of 4. That'll reel in the 48 of AJ Green. The 12 gets a little wide, almost hits the outside wall. And we'll cross the line for lap number 20 of 150. Sanchez still on the bottom for P1. Right on board with AJ Green. Good run out of turn 2. Finds his way to the outside of Sanchez for second. Might tack against Lawson Field at the entrance of turn 3. And you watch how you have to drive this track. It's a bit of an arcing motion you have to make. Slide up and then diamond it back down at the exit of the corner. And especially when you're at this top lane, and it's so hard to keep yourself planted, keep the car straight as he makes contact. Will swivel to the inside. AJ Green looking for P1. And Peel got a little loose in turns 1 and 2. Pushes him up the racetrack. 55 going to give a shove to the 48. That invites the 96, making it a 4-way battle for P1 at the entrance of turn 3. They'll hop on the brakes again. 48 this time with the advantage in the middle of the corner for P1. Took advantage of the mistake as Lawson Peel watches up the racetrack again. Austin Reedy going to have to move to the inside. Bit of a struggle there on the front straightaway for both of those drivers, but it looks like we'll stay okay. Top 5, all within at least less than a second. Colin Forrester in the mix through as well. Sanchez run out of turn 2. He'll look for the lead. This is a track where it can be very difficult to make passes on the inside. You really have to modulate the throttle, and for the driver on the top, it can be very easy to pinch the driver on the inside. Green is going to use that to his advantage. He's going to stay in the race lead as they cross the stripe. Sanchez again going to dive on the brakes. Lawson Peel trying to coop up his race car. The 96 of Austin Reedy not too far behind, on board with the 12. Longest green flag run that we've had up to this point. It looks like Austin Reedy has found his way to the inside. Yes, he has, making a challenge for P3 at the entrance of turn 1. And it looks like over the past couple of laps, that 12 has not been as snug going into the corner. That car has been way loose. He's been having to wiggle it, and it's washing off the racetrack a couple of times. And I'm not sure whether that may be a tire situation or just may be the way he's driving this car. And with the way you have to drive this car as well, here at this New Hampshire Motor Speedway, you have the 5-gear sequential gearbox in this car. You can most likely shift, and you probably will shift down to 4th gear, or at least stay in 4th gear. You're going to be riding around, and you watch here on board with the 96 of Austin Reedy. He is not touching 5th gear at the entrance of 1 and 2. He is just letting it get to the chip. He gets loose at the exit of the corner. He'll go sideways into the grass, and the caution flag waves lap 25. You saw it happen in real time in the middle of the corner. 96 ran that transition in the very flat part of the racetrack. It grips on the left side of the race car. And that 96 goes for a harmless spin. Does a nice job of keeping it out of the wall on the inside. Everybody goes around. And so a quick yellow flies here, lap number 25. And the 96, I'm not sure whether he'll be able to gain any track position. Or at least the ones that he's lost. He's now mired back in P16. So with that, this caution should give the wave around to Lance Hill, so the number 1 would be back on the lead lap after starting in the front row of this race. Brandon Gillis also back in this race, so now making just 2 cars that are behind the wall DNF. Gillis, though, is 3 laps down on the racetrack, got his car repaired. So this time a shuffle for position. We've had Lawson Peel at the front for the entire race, and now make it the 55. Your defending winner of this race in Joe Sanchez. Here's a couple of cars that hit pit road. One of them the 96. We should expect a tire call on the Chevrolet Camaro. That will be the case. Michel looking to repair his car, so no official service for him. Looks like Tyler Murray, Tyler Warner, and what appears to be James Carroll in his machine also coming in for service as a blue car that I can't quite exactly identify, and that is Tyler Warner actually in the 33. It looks like Tyler Warner will head out. Tyler Murray, on the other hand, still on pit lane with damage to his Chevy Camaro. I think he's going to maintain on the racetrack, and he'll try to at least avoid being put a lap down on the racing track. So the 55 will lead us back around. Another caution here from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So we talk about wins in this 2022-2023 season, and the 55 already having one that came at Richmond, but the driver who got the win at Richmond, and last time we were there before this season was the driver sitting right behind him, AJ Green in the number 48. Boy, and his bat has been sort of a struggle for the 48, and a little bit of ups and downs throughout season number 5. He has yet to pick up a victory. His teammate, on the other hand, Colin Forster, has been able to get not 1 but 2. Got the one to start off the season at Daytona, then got another one at Las Vegas. And despite a lot of the strong runs that we've seen out of the Beef Machine, that 48 has yet to click off the last part of his checklist here in this season, and that is, of course, get a win in this playoffs. And we do talk about the fact that the spots are now waning down. We do have a total of 15 spots for drivers to be eligible, so that makes it roughly 8 spots that are now available with the 7 drivers that have gotten to victory lane. But you have multiple winners that come in, so we've had so many different winners over the past couple of races that if you get new faces getting checkered flags, you're only limiting the amount of spots that you'll have to fight for if you're not going to win a race in this season, and if you're going to try and lock in through points. Now for AJ Green, he's been consistent enough that he probably should end up in the top 15, even if he doesn't get a win this season, but you do have to keep that in mind once we get down to the closing races before we start the playoffs. You have to understand, if you're a driver that has not won a race yet, you have to be mindful of the other drivers that do, because if they're all different winners, you're going to have no spots left, and it's going to put you somewhat of a chokehold, put you in a very difficult situation by the time we get to Daytona International Speedway, race 19, final one of the regular season, and ironically, the one that AJ Green won last time we were there in the regular season, season 4. So AJ Green going to start on the outside of row number 1. Joe Sanchez, of course, your race leader. He'll have discretion. He'll be joined by his DBR teammate, Lawson Peel, right behind him in row number 2. Going to be another teammate for AJ Green, Colin Forster, on the outside of the second row. Pace car is down. Green flag is out. A sluggish start by the 48 brings the 55 and the 12 well out front the entrance of turn 1. You can imagine possibly a misgear or just not expecting the 55 to go when he did. Now the 99 and the 48 remain side by side. Green almost makes contact with Forster on the back straightaway. Eric Schaefer in the background looking for a pass, and there's also side-by-side action. Curtis Kelly on the inside of the 13. Craig Lounslogger. Forster moves down low, but they're letting the top 2 run away at the cross of the stripe. There's 99 of Forster. He gets passed by Green. Sanchez going to be able to hold out front for now. The lap number 31, all single file through your top 5. You can tell a little bit of the struggle there from the 99, walked up that right front, severely worn out, almost hit the outside wall. That is two different scenarios you have to worry about. Hitting the wall at the exit of the corner, and of course, making sure you don't get loose at the same time. You don't wear out either side of the race car as Kyle Benson looks to the inside of the background. Caution, though, a wave on the back straightaway. The 10 and the 13 involved, as they were both fighting for what would have been the last spot in the top 5. Benson gets in a Lautenschlager. They both make contact, and around they go as they park it on the back straightaway. And it looks like the 13. It's sideways, and that's exactly what causes the yellow flag. We'll watch it this time on 1 and 2. Benson works his way down low. Lautenschlager finds a way up top. I think he just got loose at the exit of the corner and just traveled it, chased it down the racetrack. Right there, wiggles the car, gets down into the 10, so no fault of Benson. And then you see everybody just trying to find their way by. That was Curtis Kelly skipping through the grass on the back straightaway. He's able to get around the whole madness, but obviously a bit of an interesting situation. Used as part of the road course, so a little bit of creativity there on the exit. You watch here as the 13 gets loose, and that's a crest of the hill you're looking at the exit of 2. Fantastic job for Kelly to get away from the bumps there on the road course section of the track and gets away without any damage, and that's 71. Okay, but this time for the 10 and the 13, they're going to get put through the rear of the field, both of them coming down for the pit lane. Adam Alashire also there to follow. It looks like James Carroll, Brandon Gillis among those to enter the pit lane. Daniel Michel to repair his car. Eric Schaefer, he misses his pit box. You could also add in the number 16, Tyler Murray, league owner. So a heap of cars coming down pit road this time by. And this also gives them the opportunity to get some fuel and obviously extend their pit road sequence. We have seen in these caution-filled races, you have these scenarios where you have so many cautions come out. There are drivers who really don't worry about strategy because they can save a lot of fuel. But for the drivers who do come down pit road, they put themselves on an alternative strategy if, let's say, the race goes green, and it could potentially help them later on. It just gives them those extra laps to have on fuel in the tank of this race car. And what we've seen so far, at least in terms of the intermediate races, usually the benchmark of what we look at for 75% fuel used in this 4-wide Racing Cup Series, you're mostly looking around the ballpark of 40 to 45 laps, maybe 50 if you can stretch it that long on a stint. Here at these short tracks, you can go a little bit longer. We'll look at maybe 50, 55, maybe 60 laps at its most extreme. And while these drivers are under caution, it gives them the opportunity to put in the clutch, turn off the engine, save a bit of fuel, but obviously they're probably looking at around the same marker and maybe a little bit more on the fuel window if we do stay green. We haven't really had a long green flag run all night long, which has been the problem. We've been having some consistent runs here and there, but we've usually been marred by yellow flags all race long. And so strategy right now, not really on the mind of anybody, but if long green flag runs come in, and especially if this race continues on sort of an inconsistent trend, as I should say, then of course we'll have those different types of calls. And those drivers in the back that do come in for pit lane service, those fuel calls might just be the difference between winning and losing. But we have seen as well track position being a big key to winning the race here at this track, and last season obviously proved to be the case for Joe Sanchez in his 55 machine. He was out front late in the going, extended that race by 4 laps, and by lap 154, Sanchez, with the pace that he had all night long up until that point, was able to stay out front, got his first win of the season. So track position does matter here in New Hampshire, but again, strategy in the back of the mind, and it could just be a factor later on. We'll just have to find out, and these yellow flags really haven't unraveled the strategy all too much. Restart lap number 37. Joe Sanchez and Austin Peel, the Drinking Bros Racing teammates, in row number 1, and it'll be the same thing for row number 2 for Stocks Motorsports. AJ Green, Colin Forrester, the 48 and the 99, joining right behind your current race leaders. His car is down. Green flag is back out from New Hampshire. Better start by the 55 and holds off the 12. Heading for turn 1. Battle for third as Colin Forrester tries to power the outside on the 48. Better run out of turn 2 for the 48 of Green. Tries to look underneath Lawson Peel. No momentum as they get to the corner. He'll be able to hold off against his teammate. Three-way battle almost inside your top 5 or 6 or so. That's Jaden Porter was under fire by Curtis Kelly and Jesse Prees. And now make it potentially 4 cars. 3 wide into turn 1. That's Forrester on the back end of that. Had to get out of the situation as quickly as possible. Here comes AJ Green, meanwhile, on the inside for second. 1 car around. It looks to be Eric Schaefer, James Carroll, and I believe Christopher Bishop. It would not be the 42, but it will be the 44 and the 3. Second time, or rather third time, I believe, that this 3 has been involved in a crash. We saw him get into Alashire in lap number 1. Got into a crash at the same part in turn 2 a while back, and now another spin for the 3. Looks like he'll bring Carroll with him in the 44. Here's a look at exactly what happened. This is obviously near the rear of the field, and we've seen a lot of the troubles, a lot of the cautions come out as a result. Looks like the 3 just had the car lost by the time he entered the corner. That car immediately stepped out, and as he was coming down the track, James Carroll went to avoid him, hopped on the brakes. A beautiful job. Didn't get into the 3, so no damage for either of the drivers. But still, a scenario worth noting here for the number 3. Here's a look on board of the Schaefer. You can tell that car is sideways by the time he's getting in there. And then James Carroll going sideways, I think just in an effort to get out of the mess. As Eric Schaefer puts it back to the gears, looks like both of them are okay. 2 more drivers on pit road, make it 3. One of them going to be that 44 of James Carroll, the 25 and the 42, Bishop and Daniel Michel in for service on the pit lane. And much like AJ Green, driver of the number 3, Eric Schaefer, who had picked up a couple of wins last season, has still been victory-less, has been winless since the drop of the green at Daytona in Season 5. It's been somewhat of a struggle here for Schaefer. We've seen some great runs out of the 3. But really, it has been up and down. It has been really tough for him to find his way to the front. And we've seen him more at the peculiar tracks get victories. You look at Pocono, where he was able to find a victory. Indianapolis, where it was a great victory there. Then you look at Darlington in the playoffs, where he won by passing the driver you're looking at right now, who comes down pit road, the 99 of Colin Forster. Schaefer has found success and then obviously won at Bristol as well. But it looks like this season has not panned out the way he has anticipated. There's Daniel Michel right behind, but we talk about strategy. Looks like that may be in the cards for Forrester in the 99. So he was inside the top 5, top 6 or so as he was backing out of traffic on the last green flag run. And so the 99 of Forrester will come down pit road, and why not? Get a bit of fuel. You're under caution, you don't have track position. Why not? If you know cautions are going to come out, if you feel like the trend is only going to continue in this race, you can just try a different strategy. At some point, the leaders are going to have to pit. A lot of these drivers have not. So for Forrester there, going to look his strategy here as he's going to rejoin the race in 17th. And from 55 to 12, Sanchez and Peel, both of them going to be back on the front row. Going to lead us back to green here on lap number 42. This time, second row occupied by Jaden Porter on the outside lane. So Porter only continues to move up to the field. He's been able to get out of the mess and has been able to gain some positions while he's been under green. So Jaden Porter working from second to last to P4 on the racetrack. Arguably the biggest mover all race long. These cars down, 55 at discretion into the Geico restart zone. He'll hop on the gas pedal, bit of a stack up on the inside lane, but nonetheless, we will take the green flag once more from Loudon. The 12 appeal going to follow through in second, AJ Green. Jaden Porter going at it for third in turns 1 and 2. Bit of wiggle there out of the 48. Both of them stay side by side. Sanchez already up a couple of car lengths. How about a battle inside your top 5? Austin Reedy under fire from the Chiquita Banana car. That's Curtis Kelly on the inside in the 71. Looks like both of them going to maintain door-to-door at the exit of turn 4. It's going to remain the same for the drivers up in front. AJ Green going to have the nose ahead at the cross of the start-finish line, but they're only going to do is allow the top 2 to run away. Here's the look on board with AJ Green in the number 48 as he continues on the inside. Meanwhile, Field looking for an attack against his teammate Joe Sanchez, trying to mount up something out of turn 2. Just could not do it as AJ Green is officially cleared for third. He does. little bit loose out of turn 4, but nonetheless, your top 2 continue to find a way to pull away from the field. Green gets a bit loose out of the corner, invites Jaden Porter into the mix, and Austin Reedy in the 96 in this group as well. Now here comes Lawson Peel. Challenge on the inside. Sanchez working up top in the 3rd lane. But Peel looking to hold on the bottom of the racetrack. And we are door to door for the lead on the front straightaway. Some beautiful laps put up by Peel. Last time he crossed the stripe, 31.184 for the Chick-fil-A car, 31.325 for Sanchez. So not sure whether Sanchez is looking to save some tire as we've gotten into this run, but the 12 of Peel has been able to accelerate. He's been able to be aggressive while under green. Just going to look for track position. Sanchez washes up the racetrack. He looks for a crossover at the exit of turn 4. Can he get it? Answer is no. Lawson Peel to the race lead. Your pole sitter back up front. Looks like Austin Reedy underneath Jaden Porter. This is for P4. Say Porter might give that up on the back straightaway. The 96 of Reedy with a big run. How about side by side for P9? Entrance in your top 10. Jesse Prees, Tyler Murray going at it. How about Kyle Benson and Craig Lounslager in the background? Remember both of those drivers involved in a crash in the back straightaway not too long ago. But some good progress out of the 2. Jesse Prees gets loose, opens up the door for both of them. So some more positions made as Benson is trying to get a little bit of clean air there on the outside of the racetrack. He'll try one more time to get some more positions. Here's Austin Reedy on the outside. This time for 3rd. And so the 96, the TJ's team car, and the winner from last week at the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway, AJ Green makes a bit of contact, and he's able to save it. No, never mind. Gets into the outside wall, goes up on his lid as he makes contact with Jaden Porter. The 48 skids to a halt on its roof, and the caution is out at lap 48. A harsh ending to Green's run inside the top 5 as he slides up the track and gets into the 96. First of all, beautiful save, but right here the car gets sideways, overcorrection. So unfortunate for Jaden Porter, who had been the biggest mover of the race up until this point. And AJ Green goes for a whale of a ride as he hits the outside wall, and this is not pretty. You can imagine there just has to tow the race car for pit road. And there's nothing AJ Green can do. He falls a lap down. He has been now shuffled to 20th on the grid. And here come your leaders for the pit lane. Joe Sanchez, Lawson Peel. Looks like they're joined by a 3rd driver, Curtis Kelly, in it as well. Looks like Austin Reedy and Lance Hill are going to be able to be the drivers to stay out. As Brandon Gillis gets the wave around, he will be the next car now put on the lead lap. So we're going to make it 19 cars on the lead lap. The other car 1 lap down or more. Going to be that number 48 of AJ Green. Looks like Curtis Kelly, Daniel Michel on the pit lane. There's Brandon Banks in the 54, driver we haven't really talked about all night long for Drinkin' Bros Racing, the Cheddar's Machine, the winner at the Talladega Super Speedway a couple of weeks ago. The 54 now in 15th. As the field has shuffled significantly through the field, and we talk about heading down pit road quite early. Now gives some track position at the time we cross the line for what's going to be 100 laps to go from the virtual New Hampshire Motor Speedway. It will be Austin Reedy, then Lance Hill, Adam Alshire to complete your top 3. And then it goes Kyle Benson and Tyler Murray to your top 5. So despite the problems that Murray has encountered this evening, he's still been able to get back up to the field. A lot of the attrition has been a big part of that as well. And Eric Schaefer back in 7th. Colin Forrester in the mix as well. Tyler Warner and Christopher Bishop are the last handful of drivers to complete your top 10. And with that win at the Atlanta Motor Speedway 1 week prior, the 96 of Austin Reedy grabs his 5th career 4-wide Racing Cup Series win. And actually separates himself from both Kyle Benson and Eric Schaefer. All 3 of them were tied at 4. And So Reedy now with 5. Next driver to catch up to would be Brian Smith, who's tied for second all-time on the wins list with Colin Forster. And then, of course, Lawson Peel, who had been up front for a good amount of this race, looking for win number 12 on his career. So pace cars down, early jump out of the 96. We're back under green with 100 laps to go from Loudon. Fight between the two Trackhouse teammates, the 91 and the 1. Alashire being able to clear at the entrance of turn 3. Kyle Benson looking in the background. Front row seat he's got in his Chevrolet Camaro. Lowtide's occupying your 1st through 4th spots as Tyler Murray looks to make it 5 cars. He'll get to the inside of Craig Lautenslager. He'll get some help from Forrester working down the front straightaway as Benson dives in deep on the brakes. He'll look under hill for 3rd. 1 car way up the racetrack that looks to be the 33 of Tyler Warner lets a couple of drivers by. Remember, Joe Sanchez and Lance Hill are in this mix as well, so you have to watch them as they make their way to the front of the field. Here's a look on board with Sanchez. There's Reedy on the far end looking to run away. Sanchez trying to puncture his way back into the top 5. Look at the dive on the brakes by Michaud. It's one thing that you can do here at this New Hampshire Motor Speedway. You can dive on the binders and just be able to send it on the inside of another race car as contact happens between the 25, the 12 involved. They go around on the back straightaway. Caution is out again. And this time involves the Chick-fil-A Camaro. Lawson Peel getting a piece of the damage. Tyler Murray involved. It looks like Daniel Michaud, also the other car in it. Maybe make it 4 if you bring in the 3 of Eric Schaefer. Here's a look at how it happened. Oh, and Murray just got loose and overcorrected. It stacked up everybody on the outside. You'll see it once again. There were 3 wide at the exit of 2. There's a 16. 25 has to check up. It's into the 12, who then gets into the 3. And that creates another yellow flag on the racetrack. Here's a look on board from Peel. Scenario that happens when you drop track position. You are liable for any incident you're involved in. You could be at the mercy of somebody else's mistake. And it looks like Peel picks up some left front damage. He's going to take it down to pit road. It'll be the same for James Carroll, Jaden Porter. Looks like that might be it for the drivers in on pit road. Brandon Gillis gaining some spots. AJ Green has found his way back on the racetrack, so he has ticked off the fast repair on his 48. Actually, never mind, he is not. So despite going upside down, that 48 still has a remarkably clean race car. It's going to wave around. He'll be 1 lap down, so by the time we get the next caution, he should be back on the lead lap. And it is the number 96 of Austin Reedy, joined by his teammate Kyle Benson in P2. We'll take a short break, but you won't miss a thing. Continuing our coverage of race number 11 in the 4 Wide Racing Cup Series from New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back live from the virtual New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Kenneth Bueno to join you on our coverage of the 4-Wide Racing Cup Series on MaxSpeedTV. Restart lap number 57. It is the 96 of Austin Reedy, the winner from Atlanta last week. Back to the green flag. His teammate Kyle Benson behind him, but might be under fire by the two Trackhouse Chevrolets. Lance Hill, Adam Alashire going side by side at the exit of turn 2. Look on board from Hill in his number 1. Remember, he was up front in this race, then he got overcorrected at the exit of 4, slammed into the outside wall, got a couple of cars in it. Alashire and Sanchez, the two to couple up on the inside lane. As Forrester tries to play defense, the one machine looking to hold off the offense here on the bottom. It looks like he'll be able to do so. They'll stack it up, get a little loose on the back straightaway, and that's allowing the Murray Reedy Motorsports teammates, both of them, to pull away. They've got smiles from ear to ear as the two remain door to door. Sanchez looking to find his way 3 wide on the inside and can't quite do it. On board with Sanchez as he maintains on the inside, and you can be locked door to door for lap after lap after lap, and it stays that way this time. Sanchez with a good run out of turn 2. He'll side draft the 91 and make it 3 wide for turn 3. And he can't quite get under Hill. He'll slide up the racetrack. He finds a way in front of both the 91 and the 99. Beautiful move by Sanchez as he looks to the inside of the 1. And how about Daniel Michel breaking his way to the top 7? He makes contact with Alashire. He gets into Forrester and hard into the outside wall. Goes Forrester. Caution out again. You talk about getting a little eager on the brakes, being able to dive in the corner, and it looks like just too large of a send for Michel. Just gets into the 91. The wrong place in the wrong time. Right there as the 91 brakes. I don't even think Michel was anticipating him to slow down. So just a little miscommunication there on the braking zone. Of course, there are markers on the fence. It goes from 3, 2, and 1 at the entrance of the corner, and you'll see it again. Another look on board here with the number 25. You'll see it at the exit of the corner, and right about there on the fence, you'll see it go from 4, then 3, then 2. A lot of drivers like to break it to 3. Some drivers at the 2.5 marker. And it looks like right there, it just catches the 99 of Forrester and sends him sideways as sort of an accordion and domino effect. And then Alashire just nowhere to go as he hops on the brakes. Both of them get on. And it looks like Forrester has pulled the behind the wall, so he makes it the 3rd driver to DNF here from the virtual New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So Austin Reedy in your race lead. How about the driver that's sitting right behind him? Kyle Benson in the number 10 machine picked up a couple of wins over his 4-Wide Racing Cup Series career. Picked up a win at the Kansas Speedway, a walk-off win last season to put himself in the playoffs. Has been a former Championship 5 driver looking to get back to the same spot, and has a pretty good track record here at this very venue. Finished inside the top 5 both times we were here in Season 2 and in Season number 4. He finished P4 in Season 2 and then make that a podium finish in Season number 4. So if there's one thing to say about this 10, he is pretty skilled at this Magic Mile in Loudon, New Hampshire. And also a good little nugget there about the number 10 machine. A little factoid here. Part of the Daytona weekend, he was with the number 16 for JD Motorsports, so got to work with that team as they prepped for the Beef It's What's for Dinner 300. Had a bit of problems the team did through the race, but an awesome experience for the number 10. I remember talking to him about it and had to make a very long drive back to his hometown. And nice to see that Benson is racing here tonight in the 4-Wide Racing Cup Series. But just got to experience a little bit of the World Center of Racing in real life as NASCAR started their 2023 season. And as JD Motorsports tried to get the win with it was Brendan Poole behind the wheel of that Chevy Camaro SS. So Benson in his Camaro ZL1 going to be on the outside of row number 1. Austin Reedy to his outside, or rather to his inside, in the race lead. Joe Sanchez and Lance Hill, 3rd and 4th on the racetrack. then we will have Daniel Michel, the last driver, to complete your top 5. So the 96 back on the gas, up through the gears, green flag out once again here from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Battle for second on in turn 1. Lance Hill looking to the inside. Looks like that settles out quickly. Benson being able to outbrake him in the corner, holds on to the lead. Sanchez tries to find a way to the outside, and speaking of which, Lawson Peel found his way back to the top 10. Remember that crash he was involved in, came down pit road, got some damage fixed. And all of a sudden, he's back in the mix. As the 55 and the 1 go side by side. 55 going to clear at the exit of turn 4 and move Sanchez back to the podium. So single file throughout most of your top 5. Almost a door-to-door battle here for what's going to be 5th on the track. That's Mountain Slugger looking to the inside partially. And our Danny Michel just can't quite do it. The 13 actually led a good amount of laps here at New Hampshire. I think the last time we were here also picked up a win at Iowa, a track that we're going to be visiting next time in the 4 Wide Racing Cup Series, or at least in the next couple of weeks later in the regular season. And so the 13 still looking for a win this time by. It looks like the 25 of Michel will try to look at the number 1 of Lance Hill as Sanchez tries to pounce on Benson. Austin Riddy remains in your race lead. With that, we'll try and turn up the sounds here from New Hampshire, and we'll let you sort of take in everything that's going on here with the race cars on the racetrack as Sanchez moves in for second, and we'll crank it up on MaxSpeedTV. Hearing all the sounds here as we end up in our longest green flag run here from New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and we just crossed the threshold of 80 laps to go. Joe Sanchez has been able to find his way around Kyle Benson for second. Here's Lawson Peel trying to look to the inside of Lance Hill. This is going to be an entrance into the top 5, so some slow but sure progression for the 12. The Chick-fil-A machine looking to back up to the front after leading a good portion of this race. They're starting up front. Daniel Michel has settled nicely in P4. And of course, with the different pit calls that we've had all night long, looks like Austin Reedy going to approach lap number 46 on his stint. And so maybe sooner than later, we could end up in a situation where Reedy is going to have to pit first, and Sanchez and Benson, both of them on two different strategies as well. Benson approaching lap 40 on his stint. Sanchez looking at lap number 25. So an interesting field window for all of these guys, and obviously not many people on the same playing field. With the amount of cautions that we've had come out so frequently, it's just put everybody on different paths and put everybody in different scenarios where if they pit here, this is how it's going to go. If they pit here, this is how it's going to go. If caution comes out, here's the strategy I have to employ. It's a very unique call to make and to come down pit road in the middle of the yellow flag flurry. But it looks like we'll see exactly what happens as AJ Green nudges to the inside of the banana car. Curtis Kelly in the 71, who's had a pretty solid run up until this point, has avoided a lot of the trouble. We saw him bouncing through the infield road course on the back straightaway, avoiding one of the incidents as Lawson Peel looks for a slide job in 1 and 2, and Lance Hill attempts the crossover and is mostly successful. He's going to be able to file back, so I guess not able to pull the trigger officially. A bit of contact behind them. And Curtis Kelly looks like he'll hold off the beef machine of Green. So we will all be single file as the lead maintains at 7/10 of a second. Joe Sanchez, despite putting up pretty fast laps, has been remarkably even with your race leader, Austin Reedy, with a 31.5, and goes the same for Sanchez, and even for Benson, 31.593, for Michel, 31.546. It looks like nobody really clearly faster than the other. Everybody on the same playing field, and so looks like the tires have evened out quite evenly. Well, they have worn out quite evenly, as I should say. We'll cross the line for lap number 77. We'll get into what's going to be the final 60 laps, rather 70, I believe, here from the virtual New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So we talked about strategy. Lap 50 here for Austin Reedy. We should see in the next 10 to 15. He might come down for pit road. We're not sure how much he has saved under yellow. But Reedy will make a green flag pit stop. If we stay like this, it looks like AJ Green going to file his way to the inside of Lance Hill in the number 1. So the 48 going to look down low. This is going to be for in the top 6 position. The one going to back out. AJ Green going to be able to defeat his former teammate. Both of them used to be together at Stonks Motorsports. But then, of course, Lance Hill moved on to the Stonks Motorsports, or rather the Trackhouse Racing team, excuse me, there with Adam Alashire. It looks like he'll continue to fall back to the field. It has not been good for the one of Hill. Here comes Curtis Kelly. Caution flag is out, and it's for James Carroll in the 44. So the saving grace comes out for Austin Reedy. He'll be able to come down pit road this time by. As we'll find out what happened to the 44 of Carroll, and I believe this might have just been a multi-car incident. This is in a fight with Eric Schaefer. Was going to touch on the second pack of cars. Now, looks like Carroll just lost it. Schaefer, a beautiful job to avoid all that. And the number 3 gets out of harm's way. So we'll watch it again this time at another angle. The 44 just catches that transition, and it's so dangerous when you grab the left sides on the flatter part of the track, because it can really grip you around like that, and there's nothing you could do. And Carroll does a nice job of holding onto the brakes, avoids hitting the outside wall, and so the 44 will drop track position. Now here come your leaders. Sanchez is going to stay out this time by, but it looks like every single driver coming in for pit service. So in goes the 96, the 48, the 1, the 10, the 25, and it looks like pretty much everybody in this field. Sanchez, I think remarkably the only driver to stay out, along with Lawson Peel. So the 2 Drinkin' Bros Racing teammates calling out as the 96 to 10 will fight for the lead out of pit road. Really close, but the 96 has him beat out of the pit lane. And Joe Sanchez and Lawson Peel will have to hold on with old Goodyear Eagles out on the racetrack. Caution out again, inside 70 laps to go as we continue our coverage of race number 11 in the 4-Wide Racing Cup Series for Season 5 right here on MaxSpeedTV.
Who wins the race? Kerwin! It is Femi Olat, the sophomore!
I give it all that I got.
Welcome back to the 4-Wide Racing Cup Series as we continue Season 5 here from New Hampshire. Kenneth Bueno to join you on the broadcast booth. Joe Sanchez and Lawson Peel have stayed out under the most recent yellow. Everybody third on back have come in for fresh tires. Green flag back in the air. Lap number 82 will cross the line 4, and the 55 will have control entering turn 1. We're side by side for third, but how long will these old tires last as here comes Benson powering at the X-side of turn 2. A big move by Benson. Reedy and company having to slow down with Lawson Peel on the bottom. But Benson working the outside. He gets to the outside quarter panel of Sanchez into turn 3. New race leader, Kyle Benson out of turn 4. And just using the tires to his advantage. Multiple lanes available at the top. When you have that much grip, it is hard to ignore. Here comes Lance Hill. Charge on the top side of the 55. Reedy puncturing his way through. We're 3 wide for position. Maybe again. That was Lawson Peel in the middle of the racetrack. AJ Green, Daniel Micho inside and outside as Reedy goes to the bottom of Sanchez. And it looks like this call for fresh tires might not have worked the way they anticipated. Peel strikes the outside wall at the exit of turn 4 as Sanchez drops back to outside the top 5. And that is more than 30 laps of a difference on Goodyear Eagles as Peel gets loose out of the corner again. He has drop kicked through the field. As Sanchez will play defense on Craig Lautenslager and Jaden Porter, the 13 and the 28. Meanwhile, Kyle Benson has opened it up to roughly half a second on Lance Hill in the number 1. We're side by side, I believe, for P5. That was Daniel Michel looking on the outside. This is Curtis Kelly on the bottom. Looks like Curtis Kelly might be able to get his way through. A bit of trouble near the rear. That's Adam Alshire sideways. Will that bring out a caution? Yes, it will. Lap number 85 under yellow again. Like a situation there that we saw with Eric Schaefer earlier in the race where the car just snaps loose at the entrance of the corner and you're just trying to save the car the entire stretch to the apex. Look right here, gets sideways, he notices he's correcting the car, but he's in that transition from the 2 to 7 degrees of banking and then gets a slight tap from Lawson Peel, overcorrects, slides, and I don't believe that would have caused the yellow. He was under the yellow line on the apron. But then as he merged back up on the track at slow speed, that's where the caution was ignited. And again, we are under the iRacing official pace car at the count of lap number 86, crossing for lap number 87. set up double file for the restart here on lap number 89. And the 10, thanks to a aggressive run to the front of the field, he will hold the lead. Lance Hill on the inside. It looks like Ben's going to choose the top. Very interesting considering his teammate Austin Riddy is going to be on the inside of row number 2, joined with AJ Green. So pace car will come down for pit road once more. And after another yellow, the green flag will be in the hands of a new face. This time it will be Kyle Benson, back underway from New Hampshire. And a good restart from the outside. Riddy immediately changing lanes. He's going to try to work on the top side of Lance Hill. We'll fall back. We'll try to look for an arc out of turn number 2. We're seeing that a lot. A lot of the diamond arc being in effect here at this track. And in some ways, you really have to use that strategy with the way this track is built. With the corners that it has, it's a very continuous turn. And you have the variable degrees of banking. And then you have just those straightaways. You don't really have a tri-oval or really a curved front straightaway or quad oval in any case of the imagination. You really have to deal with straightaways that you have to arc out and make sure you don't hit the outside wall. So we're seeing that a lot, and especially with the use of the banking, you can kind of grip down there, get a nice run out of the corner. Looks like AJ Green is using that to his full advantage. Caution flag will wave again. And it looks like it might just be Craig Lounslauger. Yes, it is, in trouble in the 13 car. The trouble really started on the front straightaway. This is coming out of turn 4 against Curtis Kelly for position. He's going to touch on that right before they make contact, and then Kelly gets another hit by the 28 of Porter, goes for the inside wall. And I think there may be some more problems here for the 13. Right about there, loses the car, goes sideways, locks up the brakes, and comes to a clear halt, and obviously dangerous for everyone on the racetrack. That's more than enough for iRacing officials to call that a yellow flag. Here's a look at what happened with Curtis Kelly. So it looks like he just got hit at the exit of turn 4. Actually got loose and traveled up the racetrack, then got into Lounslauger, and then gets an extra hit on the back end by Porter. And just pancakes the Chevy Camaro on the inside. And tough break for Kelly, who was having such a great run up until this point. And now going to have to drop track position. There he is in 17th, and it looks like he will join a group of cars. Brandon Gillis, Craig Lounslauger, Tyler Murray to make it a quartet coming down for pit road service, as everybody else, of course, in the front will stay out. And we'll try and double them up and have another restart, probably lap number 94. And so now a very interesting scenario with the 10, the 48, and the 1. Benson without a win this season. AJ Green also without a win. You could say the same for Lance Hill. They have all been trying their dearest to get to the front and make race wins happen, but unfortunately it has not panned out the way they have anticipated, or at least in the way they've wanted it to go. And so this would be a huge win for Kyle Benson. He would join his teammate Austin Riddy as 2 Murray Riddy Motorsports drivers to lock into the playoffs and try to get in the middle of what's been a DBR brigade. We've seen so many Drinkin' Bros Racing drivers get to win so far. I mean, you look at Lawson Peel, a win at Michigan, then a win at Watkins Glen, did it a 3rd time at Kansas. Steven Stempian, Drinkin' Bros Racing driver. Or rather, that is Lights Out Esports. He was part of Drinkin' Bros Racing, but then it went Daniel Micho, Joe Sanchez, Brandon Banks, all of them getting wins. And remember how much of a force they were in the championship last season. They had a majority stake in the drivers in that championship round last season at Texas. And it was Lawson Peel, Drinkin' Bros Racing driver, to get the championship. We've seen Murray Riddy Motorsports, Stonks Motorsports, you look at even a little bit of Trackhouse Racing. All of them have been trying to break up what's been such a strong pressure point on the field. With that DBR team, how dynamic they have been, and obviously how fluent they have been working with each other. And maybe this could be the difference. It broke the streak with Austin Riddy in the 96. Can Murray Riddy Motorsports make it a streak of their own? We'll find out. We'll head into what's going to be the final 50 laps of this race in roughly 6 laps time. Kyle Benson, AJ Green on your front row. Pace car is down. And of course, the MRMS teammates going to work on the top side. Both of them going to clear first and second back to turn 1. Looks like a better start, though, for AJ Green through 1 and 2. He's able to find his way to the inside. Eric Schaefer in a battle of his own against his teammate Daniel Michel. Lance Hill looking to play a factor in the game as Kyle Benson clears by a couple of car lengths, and we are still door-to-door for P2. And one thing that has been apparent, it has been so tough to make passes complete, whether you're on the outside or the inside. It looks like fresh tires and tire advantages has been the only problem. Is Daniel Michel goes sideways, exit at turn 2. He'll get the grass, and caution is out again. You saw how it began. Just got loose at a turn 2, was looking underneath Lance Hill, and I think made contact. Indeed he did, before officially going sideways and chasing that car for the apron and what was going to be the inside wall, and keeps it out of it. So swerves back, makes that contact with Hill, goes sideways, and then reverts it back to the right, locks up the brakes, holds on to it. The car does not hit the guardrail on the inside of the racetrack, which is dangerous here at this venue. And another single car accident brings out the yellow. Kyle Benson going to slow down. And we're going to try and enter the final 50 laps of this race, and it may just be with the iRacing official pace car in front. So while we are under caution, let's take a look at what's going to be featured in the rest of Season 5 of the 4 Wide Racing Cup Series. Obviously, we have ticked down all the races up until tonight, New Hampshire Motor Speedway, but we'll take a trip through the Wild West and a lot of Texas over the next 2 weeks. We'll start with our former championship location in Season 4, Texas Motor Speedway, where Lawson Peel was able to find his way to a Season number 4 title, and then goes our road course race at Texas Circuit of the Americas, provided an absolutely fantastic run to the finish between Lawson Peel and Austin Reedy. Can we see the same? We'll find out in a couple of weeks' time in mid-March. We'll have a little bit of a break between Texas and Circuit of the Americas, and of course, then we'll head to Auto Club Speedway. Of course, that will be the race for this weekend's NASCAR Cup Series festivities. Then goes Gateway. I think the first time we see that track ever in the 4 Wide Racing Cup Series schedule. It was going to be the Indianapolis road course, but we are indeed going to the Brickyard, where Eric Schaefer is going to look to defend his crown there. That happens in April. Then we go to Iowa, a place where Craig Lounslager has won at before. Then the Monster Mile at Dover, Motor Speedway, Darlington, and then Daytona to cap off the rest of the regular season. We'll start the playoffs at Bristol Motor Speedway, then the Charlotte Roval, then Pocono, and then Charlotte, Talladega, and Phoenix in the round of 10. We'll deduce our drivers from 10 to 5. And then at Homestead Miami Speedway, a brand new 1.5 mile location for the championship, we'll have our title holder decided in South Florida. So restart lap number 99. We approach the final 50 laps of this race here in Loudon. Number 10 of Kyle Benson, the 48 of AJ Green, leading us back to the stripe. And it looks like the caution flag will wave again, so we will wave off the restart. Not sure exactly what happened. I think we did not have everybody officially caught up to the field. Eric Schaefer, I think, found trouble. Actually, very slow that 3 is. And he indeed found trouble. He was on the inside lane with Jesse Prees. What happened here? It might have just been a downshift or something that sent the 3 around. You could see the rear end just pick up acceleration. I think it might have just been a misshift. He was in second gear. Actually, no change of the gearbox whatsoever. I think it was just revving the car up. I think he was on the clutch, revving the car, and then it just ripped out from underneath him. And the 3 goes around, so we will extend this caution and we'll try to get a restart. This time by a peculiar situation, and that's going to drop the 3 to the tail end of the field, 19th. As now across the line for lap 100. And a peculiar situation Brings us now to the restart. Kyle Benson up in front, green flag back in the air. The 10's able to clear the 48 back to turn 1. Lance Hill on the outside of Austin Reedy in the 96, and a very peculiar situation to see with the 10. Didn't really pick the same lane as the 96. Both of them didn't really work together on that restart. So you have the 1 of Hill, the 48 of AJ Green just in the middle of all that, and the teammate partnership is not possible on the restart. Reedy falls back to 4th. AJ Green had a look at the race lead for a moment, had to back out as it looks like further back through the field. Joe Sanchez on the inside of Jesse Priest for P6. And there's Lawson Peel, who we saw go around and found trouble in the middle of this race. And ever since we saw these two put in the midfield, it's been so tough for them to find their way back as AJ Green nudges his way down low, bullies through the 10 out of turn 4. New race leader, AJ Green. Benson will fight back on the outside. It'll invite Lance Hill in the 1. As Benson stays up top, and despite the damage on the left front of the Camaro, the 48, the Beef Machine, finds a way to P1 as they'll stay door-to-door, a potential slide job in turn 3. Now in a clearance, AJ Green in the front. And now here comes a tussle between the two DVR teammates, the 12 looking underneath the 55. This is a very close top 5 or 6 or so, all of them within at least a second on the racetrack. It's 0.8 of a second from your leader back to Joe Sanchez, now 0.9 of a second, but all of them very close to one another. We've seen them really close in lap time. A lot of them very competitive in that aspect. 31.5s at one point of this race, and it was pretty much spread throughout your top 5. And it's just interesting to see how that exactly works as the top 3, top 4, and now make it 5th, all single file. Peel maintaining the bottom on Sanchez. Can't quite clear him this time into turn 1. We'll look for the final 45 laps of this race. We'll see if we can end it under Green. AJ Green in the meanwhile, 24 laps in his stint. Looks like everybody mostly on the same footnote with the strategy and how it has all unfolded with the cautions that we had so frequently at the start of this race. Looks like it has all unfolded nicely for everybody as Lawson Peel finally works his way around Joe Sanchez. Looks like the 55 just gave that up, so he'll fall to 7th. Peel moves up to P6, on board with Austin Reedy inside your top 5. Here's Adam Alishire underneath Jesse Priest, the 91, and the 00. We've seen a lot of up and downs from Jesse Priest this evening, but nice way inside the top 10. Nice run for him so far. Looks like Alishire will put the pressure on. He'll stay to the inside. Might have him officially cleared by turn 3 as Lawson Peel not wasting any time whatsoever after getting around Sanchez. He's immediately looking at the next car in line, and that is the 96 of Austin Reedy on board with the number 12. Can't quite find the run out of turn 4, but one thing we've seen out of Peel and out of Sanchez, very good through the exits of corners. They've been so solid throughout that part of the track. And in a place where a lot of drivers can wash up, lose a lot of speed, and pretty much park it in the middle of the corner, as they would say, the 12 has been able to find a nice way to arc in the corner, and the same deal goes for Sanchez. Both of them have found nice exits off the banking, and then on the straightaways, just pounce on the competition. That's exactly what the 12 was able to do. Pops on the brakes for turn 3, and all of a sudden, the 96 has something worth fighting for in P5. The 12 will back out, but will look again back for turn 1. Look on board with the number 48 of AJ Green, your race leader. He has opened this lead up to 0.4 of a second and counting, although Benson really hasn't let him run away all too much. You see him running the very top lane, and it'll look to arc it back the exit at turn 4. It's just all the options you have here at this New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And I mentioned it earlier in the broadcast that the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series driver, so with the setup that they would have, they can run the very apron, like Lawson Peel is doing right now. Have the apron slide up the track and even just maintain it down there, be able to make some position And it looks like the 12 finds his way around the 96. Will Reedy have a response? Answer is no. Looks like Sanchez washed up in the middle of turn 1 and 2. And that'll bring Adam Allenshire into the mix. So a side-by-side battle for 7th and maybe even for the entrance of the top 10 as Craig Lounslugger works underneath Jesse Priest for 9th. Here's Lance Hill, fight with Jaden Porter, got loose in turn 2, and here comes Jaden Porter inside your top 3. Boy, we've seen a lot out of this number 28 of Jaden Porter. Started deep in this field in P21. That's the lowest he was in this race, and he never found his way back there ever again. The driver of the 28 just doing a miraculous job of moving up to the field, and although he's been inside some of the incidents that we've had so far, that 28 has kept a clean Chevrolet Camaro with his Ally Chevrolet, inspired by the Alex Bowman paint scheme running in 2023. And the sophomore driver that in some cases you could call him a rookie, his first full-time season here in this 4-wide Racing Cup Series. Number 28 now moves up to 3rd and set the fastest lap out of anyone in the top 3. 31.303 for Porter, 31.330 for Benson, and a 31.345 by your race leader, AJ Green. So Jaden Porter is now picking up the pace at a high rate. Lance Hill falling back again through this run. It looks like the short run has been the best case scenario for the Hill machine. And so here comes Lawson Peel. Found his way around Austin Reedy, made that slide job complete, and we'll look for another move inside of the 1 machine. This time, Hill's gonna strike the outside wall as he got pinched up there. The 12 gonna look inside for P4. So a 3-way battle for one of the last spots in the top 5. Hill almost strikes the wall again, as Sanchez has severely fallen off the pace. He's more than a second away from these 3. As Austin Reedy punctures his way down low, but a contact between Hill and Peel. But the 12 is going to be able to clear. The 96 also gets his way through. So 2 spots lost in about a couple of corners for Hill. He's going to try and fight as much as he can to prevent getting bumped outside of the top 5, but it may not be worth it, as Austin Reedy has more than enough grip to find the bottom. Lance Hill drops all the way to P6 on the racetrack, and Lawson Peel now next driver up. Jaden Porter inside your top 3. And now it's all up to Kyle Benson to try and catch up to the number 48. He's kept him honest, and he's been within striking distance. Pretty much identical lap this time. 31.586 for Benson, 31.588 for AJ Green. Benson makes a mistake. He hits the outside wall and overcorrected the Camaro. He'll drop off the pace. Jaden Porter will have a chance to attack. And is that tolling damage for Benson? It's a simple but deadly mistake you can make out of the corner as you rise off the banking. It's 1 degree on the straights, 2 to 7 in the corners, and that 10 catches the wrong end of the transition, and he falls back. Jaden Porter with a chance to get to 2nd, and it looks like Lawson Peel might not be too far behind either, as Lance Hill stays side by side. He finds a way to get around Austin Reedy, but can Reedy respond? He gets back to the bottom, and they almost make contact. And Hill goes sideways. He saves it, keeps it off the 96. But that'll drop him off in position. That was almost a mirror image of what happened to him earlier in this race when we overcorrected out of turn 4. And for Hill, he'll keep his race intact. A scary moment out of the 1 machine. And it looks like the scares continue. Almost pounded the wall at the exit at 2. As caution flag waves, we'll get the field racked up again. It's James Carroll through the grass on the back straightaway. It's a common issue that strikes again. Just that transition on the bottom of the racetrack. James Carroll catches it, this time on the right side of his Camaro, and hits the inside wall, finds a way back up the racetrack at a slow pace, and as the field goes around, caution flag is out again with just over 30 laps remaining. So with this call, everyone comes for pit road. Your race leader, AJ Green, will drag everybody in. And this may be one of the most pivotal pit calls we see all night long. We've seen drivers overshoot their pit box with the brakes on these next-gen cars. There goes Jaden Porter in safely. Jesse Prees now in. Here comes Kyle Benson, Austin Reedy. We'll see if they make any mistakes. Looks like a mistake out of Benson. Overshoots the stall. He'll have to back up. And that may give an advantage to the 48 of Green. And if he can hold on to the lead at the exit of the line, he may have the best shot at winning this race. How about a call by Jesse Prees? 2 tires. He ends up in front. And AJ Green follows through in second. What a pit call. 8.6 seconds on the box for Jesse Prees. Haven't seen his name up at the direct front all night long, but this might be a race-winning call. And it will negate itself out of turn 4. Prees might have just been a misclick. He'll come down pit road, so never mind. That call does not happen officially. AJ Green will lead them out of pit road, but what a move out of second, though. Jaden Porter being able to get his way through. Kyle Benson with one of the slower stops at a 14.5. Even then, just loses track position. And he falls back to row number 3. So the number 28, Jaden Porter, will have the outside of row 1. We'll share it with AJ Green. By the time we get back to green in lap number 121 of 50, it'll mark 30 laps to go. And we did talk about earlier in this race the importance of track position. It helped with the amount of cautions that flew near the end of the race last season. What helped Joe Sanchez with the pace that he had stay up at the front, get that win. So position up here at the front might just be the key to victory lane. We'll just have to find out if we stay on the trend that we were on in the first half of this race roughly, or if we set a new trend and we go green all the way to the very end. Pace cars down, 30 laps remaining from Loudon, New Hampshire. Green flag for AJ Green as the field heads back for turn 1. Lawson Peel right out of the gate. Inside of Jaden Porter for second on the back straightaway. He'll try to take second away from the 28. Austin Reedy looking to set up a move out of turn 4. His teammate and Kyle Benson not too far behind to complete the top 5. Lance Hill going to make a charge on the top. Here comes Reedy on the inside of Porter for turn 1. They have jockeyed for position in this group. Lawson Peel goes sideways. He'll go for the grass on the back straightaway. A gorgeous save keeps him alive. And will stay under green. AJ Green has opened this lead up to 1.2 seconds. The 96 has settled in a P2. About a battle inside the top 5. Lance Hill underneath Jaden Porter. Reedy looking for what's going to be his second one of the season. It will be his second in a row. Contact between Hill and Green. They both hit the outside wall. They catch Adam Alashire. They'll stay straight, and we will stay under the green flag. For now, caution flag will hold. For the moment, a dramatic sequence as Porter drops from second on the racetrack to 11th. It's been a nightmare run so far as Joe Sanchez steps into the top 4, and we're side by side for 5th. Lounslugger loose out of turn 2, opens up 3 wide action. There's Curtis Kelly on the bottom, Alashire on the outside, as we'll get for the final 25 laps of this race. And the intensity has severely picked up, and 2 close calls almost bringing out a caution. On board with Adam Alashire. He's fallen back a couple of car lengths to what's now 5th place Lawson Peel. I think Kyle Benson might look to strike on his Murray Reedy Motorsports teammate who gets loose out of turn 2. Does that open the door for Benson? Yes, it does. Move to 10 to second, turn 3. A gorgeous pass by the 10, gets around the 96. And now all he's got to do is make up roughly a second and a half to AJ Green, who stays up at the front and has never looked back. As Joe Sanchez will look for the 96 next. All single file throughout the field. No real side-by-side action, at least for the moment. There's the 48 out front. 1.4 seconds, and that time by. Not as fast as Kyle Benson, but close enough. 30.673 for the 48, a 30.649 out of Benson. As Reedy, Sanchez, and Peel now starting to close in on each other. 55 will try to nudge his way down low. Actually got moved out of the way by his teammate Lawson Peel, so a good bump and run in the middle of 3 and 4. Peel finds his way by. What a move by Peel. Just roughened up the 55 that time through as Lance Hill goes door to door with his teammate in turn 1. That's for P6. And they're holding up a gaggle of cars behind. 71 of Kelly, the 13 of Lounslager, 28 of Jaden Porter, who we mentioned dropped back to 11th, but has now since recovered to 10th. Curtis Kelly looking to rebound after getting sent to the rear of the field and getting into the inside wall earlier. I think a mistake by Kyle Benson. Hit the outside wall. He'll fall to P5 and hits the wall again. What has happened to Benson? It was the same mistake out of turn 2 that costs him P2. Look at this as he gets loose on the back straightaway. Overcorrects the car. Darts into the wall. There goes the other cars by, and Benson might have just soiled this shot. And a top 3 finish and potentially a win. He'll try to defend. This is P6 against Adam Allenshire, but those tires are shot, and you can tell. And probably just used up too much of his Goodyear Eagles trying to get to AJ Green. They're 3 wide, bit of a hairy situation. But Benson backs out of the middle. Allenshire completes the pass. And Kelly looking to the inside. Contact. Benson goes sideways. Can he save it? No, he cannot. Yes, he can. But caution flag waves as a result with 20 laps to go. It went from bad to worse for Benson. Unfortunately, gets loose, gets hit at the 71, locks up the brakes, and does a great job of saving it. But of course, the lost speed and the fact that he is traveling so slow on the racetrack. iRacing throws that a yellow. And AJ Green will have to work for the lead again. And a call for pit road by Lawson Peel in the 12. We did not expect this call with 20 laps to go. We are in the waning laps of this race. It ticks off pretty quickly here in New Hampshire. But the 12 is going to try to use fresh tires to his advantage. Contact on pit road. That's Brandon Gillis around. I think that's Tyler Warner that got into him. As he was going for his pit stall, the 9 just backed up, tried to find his line. Some contact, a bit of drama there on the pit lane. Gillis still finds his box. Finally, Eric Schaefer there to join. Kyle Benson, Brandon Banks, Jaden Porter, Curtis Kelly, and all of them led by Lawson Peel, who's going to rejoin in 11th on the racetrack with 18 laps to go when we cross the stripe. And I'm not sure whether that call is going to work. We've seen fresh tires be an immediate advantage, obviously, like we've seen at other tracks in the schedule, but with the cautions that we've seen fly, and with the fact that Lawson Peel took so long from the mid-pack earlier in this race to get back to the front, it may just be the same deal all over again. And if we get a flurry of cautions, it's only going to stifle the run that Peel wants to build to the end and get the win. Will be his 4th of the campaign. AJ Green, though, looking for win number 1. He'll stay out with a majority of the field. It's going to be 17 laps to go. We'll get a restart, I believe, with 16 left as the lights remain on. For AJ Green, this would be the first win for him since Daytona last season. It was a 2-win campaign for him. Took AJ Green all the way to the Championship 5 at Texas, where he did not have a great race to the end. Could not capitalize on what would have been a back-to-back championship run. And Green, of course, with a lot of redemption and eyeing that revenge on the rest of the field. Austin Reedy has not made a Championship 5 appearance over the past 3 seasons. The 96 has found so much pace as of late with this next-gen car. I mean, look at back in season number 4, the amount of wins that he was able to put together, but unfortunately did not result in a run to the championship round. Joe Sanchez did not participate much last season. Participated way more in season number 5, and he's going to look to get what's going to be his second win of the year. And Adam Alashire and Lance Hill looking for win number 1. Michel looking for win number 2. And most of the other field just looking for that first break. And that entrance into the 4-Wide Racing Cup Series playoffs. The lights are off from the pace car. We'll go green with 16 laps to go. We'll eye that Chick-fil-A number 12. And Lawson Peel. See if he can get back to the front in enough time. Or even if we stay green for long enough for him to use the tires to the positive. Pace car will be down. Green flag will fly. 16 laps remaining. AJ Green gets on the gas pedal. We're back on our way from New Hampshire. There's Brandon Gillis, lap car, letting the whole field by on the apron. Side by side for second. Sanchez underneath Austin Reedy out of turn 2. Car around, trouble. Jaden Porter hard into the guardrail. Christopher Bishop involved. Will the caution wave? No, it will not. Surprisingly enough, now it will, as he's parked in the middle of the back straightaway, surely. And it does not come out. We'll stay green as they cross the stripe with 15 to go. How was that not a yellow flag? iRacing does not throw it. And Lawson Peel goes sideways. Surely this will be the caution. No, it will not. Peel will stay. Never mind, he'll go around. Now the caution out again. 14 laps to go. Question how long it would take for Peel to get to the front. We did not account for any incidents while he was trying to get there. No caution came out as a result of the first incident. We'll look at it with Jaden Porter. Collected a couple of other cars in the back straightaway, and there were 4 wide. Remember Brandon Gillis, he had been merging at the exit of turn 2. The field was not completely by yet. There's Eric Schaefer, Christopher Bishop. They're 3 wide here. Porter makes contact with Bishop and then gets another hit, makes contact and goes hard into the inside guardrail. But despite this, and despite stopping in the middle of the back straightaway, the caution does not fly whatsoever. We expected that to slow the field down. It does not. The whole field stays green, and it happens on the other end of the racetrack. The caution officially, where Peel hops on the brakes, and much like other drivers in this field, gets that transition on the inner side of the racing surface. Saved it at first, then officially goes around. That's the caution flag. Peel now dropped to the dead end of the field. And that has to be a heartbreaker for Peel, who made that call just so he can get back to the front on fresh tires. And now he'll have to work even harder from what's going to be 15th on the racetrack, as AJ Green will hold on to the lead, as we might have a restart inside 10 laps to go. Yellow flag out again. The Beef Machine out in front. We'll take one more short break, but you won't miss a thing. We continue our coverage of the 4-Wide Racing Cup Series from virtual Loudoun, New Hampshire.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Overhead look at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway as we get set for a restart inside. 12 laps to go. AJ Green, your race leader. Austin Reedy, Joe Sanchez. To fill out the rest of the top three, just had a caution flag involving the 12 of Lawson Peel, who was on fresh tires. And it looks like Peel will have to restart from P15 out on the racetrack. AJ Green going to choose the high side this time through. We'll see if that works out in his favor. He will have Adam Alashire behind him in row number 2. And then it would be DBR's Joe Sanchez on the inside of the second row. Then in row number 3, Daniel Michel and Lance Hill, the 25 of the 1. Jesse Prees, Craig Lownslaughter, Kyle Benson, and Eric Schaefer to complete the rest of the top 10. It's been somewhat of a rough night here from Loudon. We'll see if we can end this race under green. Last time we were here, season number 4, extended this race past lap 150, the scheduled distance. We went to 154 before we called Joe Sanchez a race winner in season number 4. Now we will try to get a potential brand new winner with the 48 of AJ Green. Really looking to take it all the way. Restart with 10 laps to go. Green looking to hold out front. Everybody else looking to steal a win of their own. Green flag back in the air. A little bit of a checkup by Jesse Prees on the top side, but the 48 leads him back to turn 1. And you watch as the whole field fans out. The exit of turn 2, looking to apply the throttle. Here's the 25, a power move on the outside. He'll look for 4th on his teammate Sanchez as Alashire looked on for the 96 and could not mount a run. As the 55 maintains on the bottom, Michel will have to try another lap. They're almost 3 wide near the back of the field. 9 laps to go. AJ Green up by 0.3 of a second. Here's Sanchez looking underneath the 91, exit turn 2, gorgeous run out of the corner. They almost make contact. Sanchez looking down low, they fan out, they're blocking on the back straightaway. But the 55 stays underneath, and how about a 3-way battle for what might be 6th on the racetrack, or maybe even 7th. Michel looking to hold on against Kyle Benson and Lance Hill on the front straightaway. As we jump into the final 8 laps. In race number 11, Sanchez, your defending winner, trying his hardest to shake off the 91. As you ride on board with Sanchez, he can't quite do it. A dive deep on the brakes in turn 3, not going to be enough as they're letting the top 2 run away. And Alashire gets loose. Can he save it? Yes, he can. But he'll drop track position. That's Kyle Benson, Daniel Michel, Lance Hill, potentially Craig Lownslaughter to swivel their way by. As we are almost 3 wide inside the top 10. That's Lawson Peel in the 12 on the backside. That white and red Chick-fil-A Camaro. And he'll dive to the inside 3 wide. Kelly looking to block at the entrance of 3. And Peel's going to find his way down. He'll get sideways. He'll be able to keep the car righted. That checked up the field. And that'll stall his progress one more time as AJ Green crosses the line for 6 laps to go. Look at the distance now, 0.6 of a second to the 96 of Austin Reedy. He said similar laps, Green a little bit faster. And with all the fighting inside the top 3, it has really allowed them to run away. Benson washes up the racetrack. And that'll open the door for Joe Sanchez to find a way back to the bottom. Michel and Hill going up the racetrack. Contact with the outside wall. It is getting tough here in New Hampshire. Inside 5 laps remaining. The field is severely packed up. They have accordion from 6 on back. Car sideways. That's Alashire. Can he save it? No, he'll get hit in the back. by Tyler Murray. Caution flag out again. And Hampshire is stuck on the tire barriers on the back straightaway. An unbelievable circumstance. But he is able to get out of it. Now he can find a way to reverse the car out of trouble. Remember, he had gotten loose out of one of the corners a couple of laps by. Dropped the positions, and this is where he ends up. Loose again, and then gets stuffed in the rear end by Tyler Murray. Here's a look at the loose condition he suffered with out of turn 2. Keeps it out of trouble. Murray, though, with nowhere to go, tried to predict where that 91 was going to head out. And then as the 91 rolls into the tire barrier, just gets nudged. And that left side just hangs on top of the tire barrier. I'm not sure if there's severe damage. It looks like, yes, that car cannot drive straight. So he'll try to limp it back to pit road. And the field will get 3 laps to go. And we'll see if we can get a organic green-white checkered restart, or if we might head into overtime this time through. Looks like the 48 will lead him for 3 laps to go, but the lights are still lit up on the iRacing official pace car, so we might just have a restart extended by a couple laps, so we may just go past our 150 lap distance here from Loudon. So AJ Green holding on to the race lead, Austin Reedy in second. That is Jaden Porter second in line, but he is 7 laps down in 19th, so he should get the wave around here by the pace car when we get the 1 to green signal. He is not the lucky dog by any stretch of the imagination. It should go to Adam Hampshire if we get another caution in this event. He's 1 lap down, just picked off the faster pair, so he'll be back out of the racetrack in no time, roughly 2.5 seconds in his stall. Looks like Porter might take a trip down to the pit lane, so that does negate any opportunity at a wave around. We'll see if the lights flicker off as Barney the Flagman maintains the yellow, so it looks like we may extend this race past our 150 lap distance. Indeed, we will. So we'll get into overtime for the first time here this evening. We'll explain how the rules will go. We'll get the restart double file like we've had all night long. We'll get that restart with 2 laps remaining here from New Hampshire. If the leader gets to the white flag and no caution is waved, we'll race it all the way to the stripe. If, though, a caution does come out before the leader gets there to the stripe once again, we will restart and do it all over again. I believe we have 3 attempts to get this race finished under green. And if all 3 green-white checkered attempts are exhausted at the time of the last caution on attempt number 3, if the leader can't get back to the white, whoever is the leader at the time of yellow will be scored as the winner in race number 11. AJ Green, again, like we've said, looking for what will be his first win of the season. He would make himself the 8th different winner of the campaign. And then there's the 96 right behind him in Austin Reedy, who was fresh off of the W at Atlanta, and the Dash for Cash prize money awarded to him. It would be his 2nd one of the year, and he is amped up for the restart. His teammate not too far behind in Kyle Benson in 3rd. Lights are off from the pace car. We'll get the green next time by, and it will be AJ Green at the very front. He's been controlled at the field and composed at the wheel. And can he hold on in the final handful of laps? Everybody else will look to take advantage of the restart, but it's all on the 48. He'll get into the Geico restart zone, and he will have discretion, and just going to be the biggest problem for the 96 on back is how to predict when that 48 is going to go. Our final 2 or so miles here from Loudon. Pace car will make its way to the entrance of pit road. The 48 will hop on the gas pedal whenever he pleases. Once that pace car makes its way down, he'll stall the field at the exit of turn 4 in what could be our final restart of the night. Green flag in the air, early jump by Green. 2 laps to go. Benson looking to strike against his teammate, and in turns 1 and 2, they'll stay side by side for the back straightaway as Green opens up the lead by a couple of car lengths. Car around, that's Daniel Micho in the background. He gets it back going. He stuffed the tire barriers. This race will be official. Out of turn 4, AJ Green gets the white flag from New Hampshire. Could be a final opportunity by the 96 of Reedy. He'll have one more shot at the exit of the back straightaway heading for turn 3. But AJ Green looking to hold on. He'll try to be the 8th different winner. He'll stay collected in 3 and 4. And out of the final corner, Green gets to checker the 48 back to victory lane in Loudon. Make that 3 different winners in the last 3 times we've been here in New Hampshire. AJ Green locks himself into the playoffs with a win tonight. His first one of the campaign. He is the 2nd Stonks Motorsports driver to win a race this season. Of course, his teammate Colin Forster getting 2 of his own. And it is the 48 of AJ Green. Victorious here from New Hampshire as he will celebrate and burn it down. Win number 1 for the 48. Emphatic way to close out a dominating last third of this race as we extend it by 2 laps. And the 48 continues to celebrate. And he officially joins the field of now 8 cars in the 4-wide Racing Cup Series playoffs. Here's a look at your results. The 48 of AJ Green, his first win of the season, comes tonight at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Kyle Benson is able to get by Austin Reedy at the end. And both of them end up in the top 3, so the good streak for Benson continues at this track. Joe Sanchez finishes 4th, not able to officially defend his win. Lance Hill, despite some of the struggles he faced tonight, ends up inside the top 5. Eric Schaefer, P6. Brandon Banks in 7th. Curtis Kelly in 8th. 9th and 10th will go to Craig Lauenslager and the number 12 of Lawson Peel, who could not get back up to the front after getting into a crash on the back straightaway on fresh tires. Tyler Murray is 11th. Christopher Bishop is 12th. James Carroll, 13th. Tyler Warner will be 14th. Brandon Gillis inside your top 15. Then goes Daniel Michel, Adam Alshire, Jaden Porter, Jesse Prees, and Colin Forrester. Forrester, the first official DNF this evening from Loudon. Then goes the final 2 drivers in our field that exited this race early. Scott Healy and Cody Kinsey, 21st and 22nd. So we will try to get our interviews with the top 3. And of course, we will begin with the one victorious here from New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the driver of the 48 in AJ Green from Victory Lane. First W of the season for the 48 in AJ. I have to imagine you had a feeling this win will come a lot sooner with the runs that you had built up throughout Season 5. But nonetheless, you control the last segment of this race. You stay calm under this green-white checkered circumstance, I should say. You get your first win of the season. You're locked into the playoffs. How does that feel?
It feels amazing. The start of this season definitely hasn't gone to what I thought I would. It hasn't gone to plan. I think this is my 2nd top 5 of the season. And last season, by now, I think I was accumulated like 5 or 6. But I flipped, as you saw, never fixed the damage, and I think it just gave my car more downforce.
You know, I was about to ask how the beef machine somehow got faster after you slammed the wall in turn 4. You went upside down, you skidded on your roof, and you were a lap down, more than a lap down at one point. So what was that like? What was that recovery like, getting back into the field, dealing with the more attrition that happened, and obviously being able to stay up front at the end here?
Yeah, I got my laps back. I knew I would do it. We were getting yellows quite frequently before halfway, and then it was just a matter of weaving through people. I got the bottom to stick pretty well that whole last half of the race, which was very surprising to me because before I flipped, I was very loose on the bottom. Even the lane I was running, I don't know. Car does wonders.
So it took you a couple of races last season. It was race 4 when you picked up your first win, locked into the playoffs at Richmond in a similar overtime finish where it ended under yellow. This time, though, you finished it under green. Lap 152, you win your first race of the season in race number 11. So now, with this win that locks you into the playoffs as the 8th driver in, what does that say for the rest of the season?
I'm gonna push. I was already pushing before. I was, yeah. It's just gonna be. I'm just gonna push and try to go get more wins. There's a few tracks coming up that I've got circled. None are road courses. um, and yeah, just try to get more, accumulate the playoff points, and kind of position myself well for the playoffs.
Well, you join your Stonks Motorsports teammate and Colin Forster, 2 of you now locked into the playoffs for season number 5. AJ, before we let you go on this win, continue your celebrations from virtual New Hampshire and probably holding a virtual lobster at some point. Is there anyone you'd just like to thank for tonight's outing here in New Hampshire?
Yeah, shout out to my teammates. Colin, he had an interesting race. Everybody else, we all did well. Shout out to you for broadcasting, Tyler for putting on the league, and shout out to my parents.
Well, of course, we certainly appreciate the time, and it is nice, I'll be honest, to see the beef car back in victory lane. AJ, we appreciate the time. Congratulations once again on the win from New Hampshire. We'll see you next week at Texas Motor Speedway.
Thank you.
So AJ Green brings the 48 to the victory. The Beef Machine back victorious, this time at the Magic Mile. We'll touch on the driver who comes home not too far behind in P2, and it was also a great recovery in the last segment of this race for the driver of the 10, Kyle Benson. And Kyle, before we talk about the magic that goes for you here at this Magic Mile, you hit the wall on a green flag run trying to catch up to AJ Green. You drop back to the field. You find your way back up. How did you do it, number 1?
Very, very carefully. I just got really lucky with how things were, and the tire difference was very big. I thought it was going to be as big as it was, but I just, went where they weren't and was able to get the power down and kind of drove pissed off. And, I wish I had a shot more at the end, but it happens, man. But all in all, I had fun. Had fun cutting up through the field, but, like you said, he captured the magic and, ride the lightning. So, other than that, I mean, I just kind of had to just push and hope maybe I would have got there.
It's a lot of power moves getting your way to second, but let's talk about the consistency here at New Hampshire, because I remember looking through my notes pre-race and then seeing your name so many times. I know we didn't run it in season 3, but when we ran it last season, you finished in P3, so a top 3 finish there. You finished in the top 5 in season number 2, which was less of a field, but still a pretty long race. We went over 200 laps. So what goes behind the pure consistency at this track for you?
It's just, man, these lobsters keep running away from me, man. I want to just, I guess one of these tracks are really good for me. It's just one of those tracks where you come into not really expecting anything, and hoping for the best. Just been really lucky, really, with these finishes at New Hampshire. I know season 2 was a bit of a crapshoot. I know season 4 actually, the cars were a lot looser. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's just something with this track that I click with, and I usually pick it up when the race starts, and over time I get better throughout the run, and it's one of those things where I kind of suits me late run. I like when the car gets a little slick, especially when the track temp starts getting a little high, the tires get a little hot, and you're kind of putting it into the driver's hands.
I have to imagine, though, we definitely do have to touch on this past weekend. You drove, I don't know how many hours back to your hometown where you were able to race tonight's event. Here from New Hampshire, you were up in Daytona, or should I say down south in Daytona, with the JD Motorsports team for the Xfinity race. So what was that experience like, and how does it carry now into a top 2 finish at New Hampshire tonight?
Oh, man, it was awesome. 14 hours down south, worth every hour, man. I couldn't thank JD enough for letting me have that shot, and we're going to California this weekend, so we're going to have a lot of fun there, and it definitely feels good, finally starting to do something, you're working towards your dream, and it was good seeing you, man. I didn't tell you in person, but it was good seeing you, calling the races for the last few years, and finally get to see you in person was awesome. So, but yeah, it just feels good, I'm starting to feel good again, and everything was going on, and just having fun again, man. Just it's kind of what I was looking for, and now I'm starting to have fun, and stuff's starting to go right.
We definitely love this story of sim to reality, and obviously it was great to see you out in Daytona for the Beef It's What's for Dinner 300 and just that entire weekend. But Kyle, now as we move into Texas next race of the season, and it's going to be a longer trip, I can imagine, from Fontana, California to what's going to be the virtual Texas Motor Speedway. Who do you have to thank for this P2 finish at New Hampshire this evening?
Yeah, I'd like to thank you for the broadcast, man. I'd like to thank my team, Murray Rita Motorsports. 2-3 finish. Just need some good team points. Overall, and just like I said, you with the broadcast, people that come with a 4 wide, man, having a lot of fun. Hopefully get some more drivers for Texas next week. This week was kind of a downer because a lot of people like to run in New Hampshire, but tis whatever, and you just kind of have to go on with it. But yeah, other than that, man, it's that's about it.
Number 10, P2, consistency stays the same way here at this track. Kyle, again, thank you so much for taking some time to talk with us. We certainly appreciate it, and we'll wish you the best of luck at Fontana, California this upcoming weekend and at Texas Motor Speedway, the virtual side, next week.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
So as the driver of the 10, Kyle Benson comes home in P2. Some good laps left to his credit as well. His teammate also led some laps of his own, 33 to be specific, for the 96 of Austin Reedy. Austin, I have to ask you first, you were there second at the drop of the green flag and the first attempt of overtime. What did you feel that you needed there at the end to get to AJ Green?
I needed that bottom lane to grip up a little bit. We went down there in turn 4, and there was just nothing there. We spun ourselves out earlier in the race trying to get down there, trying to gain some spots, and the car just does not grip up. Lost the front end and had to give up that second place spot to Kyle there. I don't know, maybe a little bit better restart. Maybe running the second lane going there in that last turn would have got us the win, but so a lot of other things we could have done to get there.
Obviously, a lot of things that you had to face behind the wheel here in New Hampshire. And I talked to Kyle Benson, who finished second, your teammate. He said that last season the cars were a lot looser. Did you feel the same sensations this time tonight? Did it feel similar to last season's race, or did it feel like a whole entire different beast?
I feel like every time I come here, it's a little bit different, but I definitely think tonight was a little bit looser on the setup side. I don't know how much tire conservation came into it. We had so many cautions tonight. I was really trying to save my right front a little bit because I felt like I was pushing more, but coming out of the corner, I was just trying to pedal the throttle, and it seemed like if you just got onto it too quick, it would just break on you. Like I wrecked myself early in the race, and I was at a quarter throttle on the bottom, so I don't really know. This track is so weird. Um, you guys just gotta try to take them where you get them. It's a weird track. I hope we get some updated setups for this one because it's gonna be a great racetrack if we can end up utilizing that bottom lane.
Well, nonetheless, it's still a podium finish after your win at Atlanta Motor Speedway not too long ago. Obviously, you're locked into the playoffs, and I know that there's one specific track that you may be looking at in the next couple of weeks. I know COTA is on the schedule upcoming after Texas Motor Speedway. So what are your thoughts about Texas and COTA and our little Wild West swing in the heart of the Lone Star State?
Yeah, Coda's gonna be awesome. I hope we can live up to the last one that me and Lawson had there. Because that was crazy. But Texas is gonna be weird. Um, the setup's gonna be odd. Just gonna be figuring out how to figure out turn 1 and 2. But Coda's gonna be the mainstream there. That's gonna be fun with those road course boys that know how to get it done in here, and I know there's a few of them. I'm excited for that. Hopefully, we can repeat that and get some more playoff points going here. I think I've been told that we've won 4 halfway stages in a row. We'll have to check with Tyler on that one, but that was pretty cool to get that another one done than that.
Well, look forward to Texas Motor Speedway in 1 week time. But Austin, before we let you go, here from New Hampshire Motor Speedway, anybody in specific you'd like to thank for the run?
Yeah, all the boys that show up every week. No matter what happens, we always get those same 20-something guys that show up every single week. Love racing around these guys every week. They're great racers. They're fast. They're hard to beat. Got to thank Tyler for the effort he puts in for this league and the money he puts in. Everybody that donated to this league this year, and TJ's team and Team Designs for the sponsors on the car.
We certainly appreciate the time, Austin. On behalf of our broadcast crew, congratulations on the 3rd place finish from New Hampshire, and wishing you the best of luck at Texas Motor Speedway next week.
I'll see you next week.
So that is the 96 Austin Reedy. Could not go 2 in a row, but still 3rd place finish. Definitely some good points. And like you said, a very consistent driver when it comes down to the halfway mark of the races that does award points. So the 96 could walk away with a bit of points as well. So the number 48 of AJ Green is victorious, and we'll continue our season of the 4 Wide Racing Cup Series. We'll take a look at where we're headed next. We'll head to the Lone Star State, Texas Motor Speedway next week in March. That'll be March 1st, 2023. We'll go for 134 laps, and then we'll take a week break before coming back on March 15th with Circuit of the Americas. That'll be another road course race, and it'll be a while after we get to our next one at the Charlotte Roval in the middle of the playoffs before we get all the way down to Daytona International Speedway. We'll decide the 15 that make it to the Championship 5. So that does it for our broadcast here from New Hampshire. Congratulations to AJ Green, and for Tyler Murray and everyone at the admin team and race council, and from all of us at MaxSpeedTV, my name is Kenneth Bueno, saying so long from Loudon, good night, and we'll see you at Texas 1 week from this evening.